that 66 was a magical year. I mean, the only real question marks that Notre Dame had was myself and Seymour. Two sophomores that are starting their first game in their first season. Back then you couldn't play as a freshman, anybody. And so that was the question. But we had a great offense around us. We had a great defense that got us always great field position. So, we did our job and everybody else did. So, and it was turned successful. And Aaron was spectacular. I mean, he was, he gave me the ball. He called me in the office. He said, no matter what happens tomorrow, the first game, you're the quarterback. So I walked out there feeling pretty good. But when you look back, you say, wait a minute, maybe if I threw 3 picks, would he really keep me in there? But we hope to think so.
Well, and you got another young guy today. You fast forward and you're in 2025, and you have a freshman that is starting at quarterback for Notre Dame, and CJ Carr, and he had a couple of rough games to start his career. What have you seen out of CJ here in his first year at the helm, and what kind of advice would you give him?
Well, nowadays things are different. When you're starting now, he's 20 years old. Back then we were 18 when we started our first game there. It was right out of. I mean, there was no such thing as a COVID year. There was no such thing as redshirting, and you couldn't really play that extra year. So you started as a freshman, did your penance there and got beat up by the varsity for a year. Then you were able to start, as a sophomore at 18 years old. But I like him a lot. I think he's really good. He's from a family of football. Number one, that helps a lot. Grandpa was really good. I know I met CJ when I was out there a couple years ago, and I asked him, I said, how the hell did you get away from your grandpa in Michigan there? But he always had the love for Notre Dame, and the recruiting was great. And he has a real good head on his shoulder. That's the most important thing. I think he makes really good decisions, and I think Mike Denbrock is a perfect offensive coordinator for him because Mike, I think, explains things very well. And Mike is strong, and he's been around a while, so he knows young quarterbacks. And I think, and you can see each year or each game, CJ's getting a little better, a little more positive about his decisions, and that's good. He's got a big arm. He can throw the ball. He can hit that 18-yard out. He can throw the ball 30, 40 yards down the field, and that's what you need. You need a quarterback who can stretch the defense when needed.
The pressure, I would say, is not entirely on his shoulders, which may be a good thing because you have two guys in the backfield that can go off at any time. You have a Heisman Trophy candidate in Jeremiah Love, so it takes a little bit of that pressure off of his shoulders.
I've never seen a college team with those two kind of running backs. Price and Love are just phenomenal. And, you flip a coin. I mean, I think, Love is more the spectacular runner. And that move he made the other day was just incredible. And you've seen some other ones where he's jumping over people. And they're both very tough kids who can run inside and out. You don't see that a lot. And to have those on one team, and you hate that they both have another year, but I don't think Notre Dame can put the blue and gold on them next year because they're going to be too high in the draft. They're wonderful. I mean, they're great at weapons to have in your backfield, and the receivers I think are getting a little better. And I would like to see Notre Dame throw more slow screens. There's a bubble screens and that sort of stuff, and get the ball to the tight end more. The kid is really good.
Yeah.
So that I think that could be a real weapon.